I thought North Carolina just really played well. They moved the ball. They shot the ball extremely well in the second half, and we just couldn't get to them. We just couldn't get stops against them. They had three different guys making threes, and I thought we gave it what we have. We battle them as hard as we can, but I thought Barama was tremendous tonight. He's really found himself the last couple games, but we've struggled in other positions.
Coach, what does that mean to you to see John Wallace get his moment there tonight?
Well, he's a great player. He was so important for our program when he came, and what he did was incredible. We were very thin and with numbers. He had a great first 3 years, and he had a better senior year, and took his team to the last game. And he's a phenomenal player for us, and he's been a great supporter from the first day I talked to him, and he's in high school. He was like, I'm Syracuse, and he's been Syracuse consistently, day in, day out. We didn't get to the three-point shooters in the second half. Just a very poor job defending the three-point line, which we have done this year, unfortunately. And we haven't shot it well. We had pretty good looks. I wouldn't say too many, maybe one or two that were rushed, but we had good looks. We haven't made enough threes for the last 10, 12, whatever games it is. I think we're shooting less than 25%.
Did you expect Buddy to play this well with the ankle?
No, I didn't. I didn't know what he'd do. He practiced yesterday, but I didn't really count on him today, and he made the first 4 shots he made were probably the hardest shots he's made all year. I mean, they were really hard, and he played. Obviously, he kept us. Him and Varama kept us in there, but we just didn't get enough. But with everything, our defense wasn't good enough. All right, thank you.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Up there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Joe.
Happy Sunday, buddy.
So,
what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at you.
Okay, good.
Joe is outside. Joe's podcasting outside. And,
no.
Well, kinda. You're in a vehicle.
Okay, all right. Well, if you put it like that, then yeah.
So, anyway, and we still get the pop top. So that's awesome.
I mean, look, I come prepared, right?
Yes, you do.
I mean, technically, it's probably not the greatest idea, but
probably not. But
I'm in a driveway, so
I'm in a driveway. I hope.
It's not like I'm in some random parking lot just popping tops, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Oh gosh, forgive me. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. All right, rate, review, subscribe. Thank you to everybody who already has. We really appreciate it. Really helps us big time. Helps grow this show, and this isn't like a this show spreads word of mouth, and you guys have done a fantastic job. So we appreciate it. All right, so let's do this. A deflating 92-79 loss in a soon-to-be deflated dome. So you have that. Against UNC, drops the Orange to 16-13, 9-9 in the ACC, and Cuse will finish out the regular season on the road. The first of 2 games is going to be against Boston College. They are 13-16, 7-11 in the ACC. That game's going to be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. TV will be ESPN2 as of right now. So, well, you know what? We don't have a sponsor, so I'm out of my flow here. We don't have a sponsor this episode, but we got some coming up. So we will go on. With 11:11 left in the first half, Barama Sidibe threw down a dunk to tie the game at 17-17. After that, UNC would go on a 16-0 run. They made it 33-17 before Syracuse went on an 11-0 run of their own, bringing the game to 33-28. Syracuse would head into the locker room down by 5. I thought to myself, you know what? I'll take that. Down by 5 after all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Showed some life and got back in that game. But the Tar Heels would come out in the second. They'd go 6 for 11 from behind the arc, and Syracuse's offense could just not keep up. So the good looks like Buddy's going to be okay. In fact, he would lead the Orange in points with 22. So our Orange man, Joe Barama Sidibe, 17.6 blocks, 15 rebounds, and 7 for 8 from the line. In fact, the whole team was great from the line. 89.5% from the line. 17 of 19. Really good. Really good. Really, really good.
Yep.
So, on a night where Syracuse retired Wallace's jersey, they shot 44.4% from the field. So that's good. It was not terrible, but it would not be enough. The bad, since Sidibe has stepped up, Guerrier has stepped down. 6 points, 3 rebounds in 25 minutes. Syracuse is in absolute pitfall from distance. 25 and even 25% against UNC. 6 for 24. We heard Coach in the montage mention that they've been struggling the past 10 to 12 games. So I went back 10 games, and I averaged it out. They are shooting 27.8% in those 10 games. So really bad. Bad from where they started. They started before that stretch. They were like 37, real high 36s. So negative 10 on the boards now. That's not horrible considering UNC is the 9th best rebounding team in the nation. It's not horrible, I guess I should say. But, 22 second chance points off of 13 offensive rebounds. That's,
And considering how it started out, too. So
yeah, absolutely. The ugly, as we mentioned in the preview, this was not going to be a good matchup for the Orange, and the defense struggled mightily, allowing a team that shoots normally around, came into the game, UNC did, at 28.8% from 3, and they actually shot 42.3%, 11 to 26 from distance during the game against Syracuse. That combined with us only hitting 25% of ours that's how you get your loss. That's where it comes from. It doesn't take Einstein to figure it out, right, Joe? So,
right.
A quad 3 loss right now. UNC moved up from, I think they were at even 100. They moved up to 89. If they get to 75 in the net, it'll be a quad 2 game. So,
which could happen.
It could happen. I think I would predict it will happen. In fact. So, but is it too little, too late on that? Like, does it matter?
No,
it doesn't.
I don't think it does. No.
Right, I don't think it does either. So anyway,
I think we're past the whole resume stuff. So
yeah, I think so too. Unfortunately, it's fun to talk about, but it kind of is what it is. And when we talked last time about what Syracuse was going to have to do, Joe was pretty sure that they would have to at least get to the championship game in the ACC tournament. I mean, there's some saying that they would have to win at least 2, one of those being kind of a big game or a real quality win. And right. I just think, I mean, I don't know. I've always thought they probably had to win it, but I don't know, Joe. What do you think?
No, now it's definite.
Now it's definite.
Yeah, it's not even anything that we're going to, we need to win the ACC tournament now. So, and again, it's unfortunate because we have had such close games where we could not be in this position right now. But again, a young team with limitations, and we talked about these limitations, and a lot of it just comes down to the opponents that we play. And, we talked about how North Carolina just is not a good matchup. They got big guys that can score, and they got guys that can shoot. And, we saw what Brooks and Anthony did, but then to have Keeling come off the bench and shoot what he did, 7 for 11 for 18 points. I mean, that was the dagger to me. It just seemed like in the second half they just didn't miss. I mean, obviously it hurt when Dolzaj got in foul trouble because we only saw 19 minutes of him. And like you said, Guerrier he outplayed Dolzaj. Guerrier had 25 minutes of his 19. So that's not normal. That's not something that we really can afford against teams like that. And again, too, a lot of people want to look at the overall record and the ACC record and everything with North Carolina. I mean, if you watch that game on TV, they showed stats. They talked about it. I mean, 94 total games missed by players. There's one of their starting power forwards Sterling Manling, he's been out like all year. Like you said, Cole Anthony, he missed 11 games. They've just been riddled by injuries, and that takes away from the continuity and stuff like that. They're a way better team,
Way better
than what their record shows. And I think that wasn't just, oh, we played like crap. Like,
no, we got beat by a better team.
Right,
plain and simple.
Right, yeah, and they've beaten themselves more times than not in a lot of their losses in the ACC. I mean, they have 5 losses, I believe, by 2 or less points. You know, I mean, everyone remembers the Duke game. They had that game. They gave that away, couldn't make a free throw, and they go into double overtime and end up losing it. So, I mean, they could easily have a different record and definitely have a different national opinion about how good they are, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was tough to see that go. It was tough to see that game go like that. You know, when we talked about it in the preview, when you asked about like the 3 points or whatever, what did I basically end up saying? That we needed to score. We needed to outscore them. That was our only chance.
Yeah.
It was hopefully they have a bad day. Hopefully, you know, Cole Anthony doesn't make 7 from 11 from the 3-point line, something like that, you know, because we knew Garrison Brooks was going to do his thing. He had 26 points, 14 rebounds, and we knew that somebody was going to come off the bench and hit a couple threes. But again, when you're playing against a lottery pick, stuff like that happens. And like you said, to your point, 9th ranked overall in the country in rebounding, we knew we were going to have a problem there too. So,
in Syracuse is 217th in rebounding percentage. So
yeah,
quite a gap there.
Right. And Mendoza's out. Like, again, that's just this is another bad thing that goes toward it. Again, it was tough because we didn't really, especially in the second half, have a problem scoring against them. It was almost like we just needed them to just miss or get a stop or something. We just couldn't do it.
Nope, we couldn't do it. All right, let's do some fan feedback.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, y'all know what to do. Go to the socials after the game. I prompt you to give your thoughts by asking for your thoughts, and you do so. We read through them. We pick a couple, and we talk about them. We want something that's, you know, something. I try to pick ones that I might be feeling the same way, so we could talk about it. Try not to embellish too much in the beginning there. But at Tony Staffieri on Twitter, did you pull any Facebook ones, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Roy Williams should get a piece of the dome roof since he has owned Boeheim in there since 2014. Yeah, you know, it hurts, but it's true. 9 in a row now for Roy Williams against Coach Boeheim. And, you know, coming into this game, you felt like it was kind of our time. And, you know, there were some people saying, well, you know, I think there was a comment, something along the lines of, if we can't beat this team, I don't know, this UNC team, I don't know what UNC team we're going to be able to beat. But, like, to your point, Joe, this team is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good team. And you know what? They're a legit shot for the ACC crown, too. I feel like they could beat anybody, and they're not going to have to beat, you know, but they're not going to have to beat everybody. It just depends on how they get matched up, I guess. So they're going to probably have the tougher road. But
well, they've dug themselves a hole as far as where they are in the ACC and where they're going to have to play. I mean, they're going to have to play the first day, so they're not even going to get a day by.
Right.
And that's definitely a hole. I think they're going to have to win 4 games or something like that.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. They've got one of the tougher roads.
It's not going to be easy, but again, that's what we also ran into. You know, like we talked about, North Carolina has nothing to lose. You have a team full of 5-star guys. You got a guy who's probably going to be a lottery pick that's going to be leaving this year. You're ranked top 10 as far as rebounding. That's something that you can work with, and they're just hungry. I mean, they have nothing else to lose. They knew going into the Syracuse game that they had to win the ACC tournament still. So they're just trying to get better. And I think that you saw that with Cole Anthony. I mean, he just played a really just overall great game. Yeah, I just don't really know. Where is it? I had a Dominic from Facebook. I am very disappointed. They let UNC's best player beat them on offense. He did everything. He distributed. He scored. Lone bright spot is Sidibe playing great these last few games. Unfortunately, now I'll have to face all the UNC fans at my church tomorrow.
That's you, right? I got a story for you.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to deal with it definitely when
Yeah.
I get back, 100% for sure. And again, that was just a comment that kind of went toward Cole Anthony. I mean, you got to take something away, and I don't think that we were going to take away down low, the offensive rebounds, just the overall big men. So we had to be able to take away that 3-point line, and we just didn't.
We just didn't, and it's like it just constantly happens to us. If I had to guess, I'd have thought they if I had to put money on it, I would have thought they did better down low than they would behind the arc. I just knew that UNC coming in shooting 28.8% from behind the arc was probably going to light us up. You know why? Because that's how it goes. It's like it's like every time.
Well, it's unfortunate because when you see something like that, you might say, okay, well then let's kind of let them shoot a little bit and let's try to take away the down low. And the fact that they couldn't take away anything.
Nothing.
And then North Carolina ends up shooting 44%. They have a day. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'd be willing to guess that was probably their best 3-point shooting game all year.
Oh, without a doubt. They shot in that second half, they shot something like 60% from the field.
They didn't miss anything.
No. It was ridiculous.
Frustrating, especially when we started making shots. It's like, okay, just a couple shots, we can get back in here. Get it to single digits. I mean, North Carolina, they've gotten in their own way a lot of these games, and they've lost a lot of games. They've let a lot of games go in the last couple minutes of the game, and I was just hoping that it was like, we could get a deja vu factor because that stuff does kind of pop in there. And if we could have got it to 8-7, something like that with a couple minutes to go, then I really, truly believe that there might have been a little bit of a different last couple minutes. But
yeah, well, you got Dolezaj struggled, you got Gerard struggled, Sidibe just went off, and we'll talk about that. But we go through these games where you need everybody to click, like UNC was, and they got a guy coming off the bench scoring 18 points, in Keeling. But we need Dolezaj to play better than that to win. We've said it all year. Coaches said it, and I mean, him coming in scoring 6 points and 3 rebounds and committing stupid fouls. That one on Cole Anthony, I think that he got fouled out on, was really dumb. The one where he cut him off. Was that his fourth foul or his fifth
fourth foul? Yeah.
Okay. That was just dumb. That was just a dumb foul. And I understand he's trying to make things happen, but he's got to be smarter than that, man.
Right.
He just lets his emotions get the best of him. He's trying to make something happen. I get it. So look, to Dominic's point, and I know you got people at work that are UNC fans. I got a couple guys at work that are UNC fans, but my kids had a sleepover. My 2 oldest had a sleepover with a brother and sister that are around both their same ages. My son's buddy from his basketball team comes decked out in UNC gear. They're UNC fans, so
I had to kick them out.
Oh my gosh, Joe! I wanted to so bad. I wanted to so bad. I kept my cool. At 1, Kev Nash. Barama was great. Happy to see Buddy found his shot again. Let's win these last 2 regular season games and make a run in the ACC tourney and see what happens. # Go Cuse. Kev. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's the plan, right? That's the plan. So, Buddy came out. He made some difficult shots. I think he did way better than I expected him to do. And, obviously, I thought I expected him. I thought he would probably play, but I didn't know how effective he would be. But, playing in front of Tom Brady and, he had the whole showcase there at the Dome.
Right.
And, so, yeah, he found his shot. But the problem with Buddy and the problem with Joe and really everybody, man. Everybody, when you think about it, Hughes has been pretty consistent, but their problem is consistency, man. And they've just struggled. Buddy did nothing in February until February 29th, which is actually a day that only comes once every 4 years. So
yeah,
so
he won't be a Syracuse player the next time it happens, right? So I mean, Elijah, he didn't shoot the greatest percentage, but he got to the line. He got his 19 points.
A quiet 19
we know he's
for
going to
Hughes,
put up
man.
shots, right? Yeah, it was a quiet one. It was a quiet. He got a lot near the end, where they were trying to come back, and North Carolina necessarily wasn't playing the toughest defense, but
yeah. Well, here's another thing too, and as Kev mentions, talking about let's make a run and see what happens in the ACC tourney. Look, is it probable? No, I don't think they're probably going to do it, but there's a chance for anything. But look, here's the deal. So if they don't make it and they go to the NIT, well, let's go win the freaking NIT championship then, I guess. Right? I mean, it sucks, but it's kind of like the writing's been on the wall here for a while now, and we keep moving the goalposts back to fit, some kind of positivity, some kind of positive idea, and it's just, it's still on the table. I mean, obviously, if you win the ACC tournament, you can get in, but it's just, it's a grim scenario. So it's just me.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, right?
It's tough. Yeah, I mean,
and did you get a lot of stuff on Twitter as far as the zone?
I didn't see a ton of that on Twitter.
Oh, that was all over Facebook.
Was it?
All over. Yeah. Top fan Matt from Facebook. Loss really overshadowed a nice game by Sidibe. The zone has been ineffective quite a bit this year. We have the scores, we have good offensive players, but everything we gain in offense, we lose on the other end. And when a player gets a hot hand, it makes it so hard to rein him back in. It's been that way all year. The defensive struggles really makes you miss a guy with the athleticism Jalen Carey has.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are we calling for man-to-man? Because, I mean, that was the one thing I got raked over the coals about in the beginning of the year. And I saw, I did see someone mention something about, hey, who's going to be the first moron to suggest we should switch to man-to-man? Well, I don't know what it would look like, but it's not going to happen. First of all, it's not going to happen under this coach. Second of all, I don't know what it would look like. Some people say we'd get crushed anyway, right? I mean, who's going to guard Cole Anthony? The whole game. So, or,
exactly right.
Or Brooks. I mean, in Baycott went out with an injury. Imagine if he stayed in the whole game. I mean,
right.
It gave us
We're
a
not
fighting
guarding
chance.
those guys. Yeah.
No, not with the group we got, unfortunately. And I mean, I eat my crow on that one. It was an emotional response. So.
Right. It's tough because even then, you think Buddy's going to guard the two guard?
No,
Joe Girard,
but Buddy's defense.
It's just.
I will say Buddy's defense got a little better at one point, but it's not great, dude. It's not great.
Well, he's kind of had the ankle probably wasn't 100% anyway, but yeah, there's certain things that you don't. I don't know. I just noticed that I don't know. We have had some games where we had some steals, but I just remember the steal numbers from, Frank Howard, Tyus Battle, the guards like that,
Yeah.
We used to get turnovers like that all the time and stuff. And,
I do have one. It's right here. Go on.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's just one of those things where man-to-man, again, the coach isn't going to just play man-to-man because the fans are yelling at it to prove one thing or another, right? At the end of the day, I don't see it. If you're one of those fans that want to say, well, if we haven't seen it, let's try it. I can understand how maybe some people want to see that happen. But at the end of the day, if your coach knows, I don't know. It's just tough.
Yeah, well, here's one from Stephen J. Crowell. He says, when your opponent is shooting 60% from behind the arc, you should have the flexibility to go man-to-man. We don't, so we lost. 90 points is too much to give up to a sub 500 team at home. Defense wins championships. Well, this isn't the same team that if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But if this team didn't have to go through the injury plague that they faced in the middle of the season there, beginning to the middle of the season, they wouldn't be a sub 500 team.
No.
And to the point, switching to man-to-man, my thoughts have changed. I've changed on that a little bit. I think probably our best scenarios is what we're doing. It's more of an athletic thing, I think, than it is an actual scheme thing. Is that fair to say? Does that make sense? So I don't think I don't think switching it up is going to help any. In fact, we might get crushed by a couple guys. Talk about guys going off.
Right. And that's what I mean is that just because it's different doesn't mean it's going to be better at all. And people have to understand that yes, everybody plays man to man and everyone, you get good players, but being able to recruit to your scheme can help recruiting. There's been plenty of players back yes, we've gotten some high profile players and things like that, but there's been plenty of players in the day that, weren't 5-star McDonald All-Americans. I mean, compared to the Blue Bloods and compared to some of these big schools, we don't get the type of recruits all the time. Yeah, we've had recruiting classes here and there, but we don't get the big-time recruits all the time. I mean, how many times you watch the McDonald All-American game and you see Kansas guys all over the place? I mean, Duke, there was like one year where Duke or Kentucky, one of them had like 4 players in it, right? So, I mean, we get one like every 4 years, right? So it's just one of those things where he's allowed to get other players that can come in and can be successful that maybe would have been so successful going to a man-to-man type school or something like that. So, I mean, that's how he recruits to the zone. And yes, the zone this year hasn't been that great, but up until this year, I mean, it's one of those things what you can complain about. Last year we were complaining about how we can't score points and we don't have offensive players. Yeah. Then we turn around and it's a complete change, and then what happens?
Yeah.
Now we can score. It's a little bit more fun to watch, but now we can't stop certain teams. Certain teams that have those.
There was a point where it was just 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1. You know what I'm saying? We were trying to cut into a lead. It was impossible because we kept letting them. First of all, we let them on the offensive boards constantly, and then they couldn't miss. They couldn't miss. But what about, though, we're talking about consistency and all that, and, it's probably been one of my biggest pet peeves the whole year is the consistency of the players. But Sidibe strings together 3 games in a row, which progressively he improved as teams actually got a little bit harder as we went, which is amazing.
Right.
He's playing against some big dudes down there, man, and he just went for it. He said he wasn't worried about fouling. He just was going out there and being aggressive and doing his thing, man. How many blocks did he have yesterday? 6 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
6
He's
blocks.
been all over the place. He's been an animal for 5 straight halves.
It's freaking amazing.
It really makes me feel bad for all of the things that I've said in the past.
I know.
Because even I just thought it was just a Chukwu 2.0, and I mean Chukwu, I don't even really remember stringing together games like this, 2 or 3 games in a row like this. So.
Not that many in a row, and nor would I ever think Sidibe would do it. But here's the thing: we kind of call it like we see it. If someone is like playing a certain way for 3/4 of the year, then we're not going to sugarcoat it, right? I mean, we've never really done that, I don't feel like.
Right.
So, I mean, I love being proven wrong by these guys. I mean, please. I'd be more than happy to be wrong about Sidibe. And if he turns out to keep this fire lit going into the rest of the year, I don't, wherever we're playing, it doesn't matter, NIT or whatever.
Right.
That's all that matters to me because he's going to be a senior next year, and this is growth for him. And could you imagine him next year if he just builds off of this? He's going to be really good. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to talk about is the fact that, he's barely gotten any playing time. Like, he might be a junior. People be just like, oh, just junior. This
his first year starting.
Right. It's easy to be a little negative when players aren't doing good, right? But then when you really sit back and you think about it, I mean, he barely played. Then he had his knee injury last year, and now he's finally getting into it. And this just goes back to our original point from the first episode we did when we talked about this Syracuse team and what our expectations were or weren't, and how it was just going to be fun to watch this team grow, right? And that's what happens when you have youth. I mean, he's a junior, but as far as playing time and experience, he's young. And same thing with Buddy, and same thing with Joe, same thing with Godine and Guerriere. Elijah Hughes has had to, and he's done a great job, obviously, leading scorer of the ACC, but having to be able to transition to being the man on a team, right? So, and Marek Dolezaj trying to transition into being more of an offensive force, your second, third scorer and being down there, trying to stay in games. We knew that this was going to happen. And again, it's fun to see the growth, but also like you said the word a little while ago, consistency. That's the biggest thing when it comes to young kids and young teams is the consistency. Is you see little glimpses and you see the string together a couple games, but then there's always those little spots that they come against, because when you're doing good, when you're playing good, then you start to get noticed and you start to get attention. Joe Girard had 52 points in a week in 2 games. That's going to garner some attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
Buddy
you start
going
playing
off in the beginning of the year, sure.
Right, and that's what you see. Buddy, same thing. So these coaches are starting to game plan for when someone goes off and someone's on a hot streak and people are scoring, then that next game you have to understand that those coaches, they are going to game plan against you, and they're going to make it more difficult. So it's figuring those things out, and that's just what a young team does. And to be perfectly honest with you, like the way that they fought and where we are as far as a position, they could have been a lot worse. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and wasn't Sidibe, if I remember right, wasn't he kind of a late bloomer as far as playing basketball? Wasn't he almost forced into it because of his height? Didn't he not play in high school or just barely in high school or something?
I mean, I wouldn't quote me, but I do believe you are somewhat correct as far as what you're saying. He hasn't been playing like all his life.
Right. So, anyways,
he doesn't have home videos like Joe Girard dribbling through his basement, right? So,
exactly my point. Yeah,
7-year-old,
right,
whatever.
Exactly. All right, is that it? We good? That's all I got.
I got one more.
All right, go ahead.
And it's just funny. I don't know. Did you see on Facebook? Did you see that the meme about the dome?
Yeah, and Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady.
Before and after, yeah.
Oh God, it's so crazy, right? So just to kind of throw one last one out there because we pretty much hit on everything else. So actually, there's two that I want to hit up. So, and one of them has to do with Elijah Hughes. James from Facebook, body language said it all. Hughes played his last game at the Dome. What do you think about that?
What, like he didn't care?
Did you see any body language that?
No.
I don't know.
No, not really. I mean, as far as effort and things like that, is it?
Not necessarily effort. I think that sometimes maybe just the body language of whether or not you feel like that's your last game or not. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like if he knows that that's the last game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would have to go back and look, but nothing heightened my senses to it at all.
Right. I didn't see it either. So, and then the last one to finish it off for everybody, because why not?
Oh boy.
Kim from Facebook, I blame Tom Brady because why not? Yeah. So you got some people just.
Yeah, I mean, part of me appreciates Adam Weissman bringing these people in and everything, but part of me thinks is it a distraction? Is it like, I don't know, like right. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to like I don't know? It was kind of a spectacle, like me. Look, and I'm not trying to be negative about this, but dude, I saw Tom Brady and Jimmy Fallon and Julian Edelman more than I was seeing like the seniors or right. I mean, well, you know what I'm saying.
But as much as
like the John Wallace jersey was retired, but they hardly showed any of that on TV.
Right, and then you have Jimmy Fallon doing the whole leading the band.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more
like
or less
show,
like
man.
I don't want to say it's a sideshow and that I didn't appreciate it, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. It's
like
it's
I
more,
said,
they make it more of a spectacle, right? Like
yeah, that's where I was going with that. Like I said, I'm not trying to be negative about it, but it was kind of a sideshow, and part of me appreciates him bringing these big names here all the time, but part of me is like, I don't know.
Well, especially when you look to see, I mean, when you see how they've played at home versus away this year.
Yeah, bring him to an away game, sure.
And I mean, not to say, and again, you don't want to blame the guy, and obviously,
no,
my whole thing also too is that like what you said, what's the angle? Because most likely there's, either he's getting something out of it because I mean he's paying to get these guys here, right?
I think he donates to their charities. I'm almost positive. How else would he do it?
Something like that. But at the end of the day, what are you really doing? Because if you're doing it to sell tickets, every time this happens, I don't see the information until like the day, right? So I mean,
yeah,
you'd figure that if he was trying to get more people there and trying to help the attendance situation with bringing in these names, then it would be something that would be announced or something. So
Syracuse is one school that does not need help bringing fans in. Once again, they locked down the home crowd title or whatever it was, right.
But I think if you, and again, like I said, I can't really, this is another thing that is more like a theory to me than anything else. But I mean, we play in our football stadium. So again, yeah, it's cool. It's awesome. It's a good experience. The crowd,
it's neat,
gets loud, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'd be willing to I'd like to see the numbers as far as percentage filled.
Real numbers, you mean? Because they always go by tickets sold.
I'm talking per capita.
Right. Oh, percentage.
So to speak.
Right.
So to speak.
Yeah.
You got Duke, who only's got, I don't even know what their attendance is, right? But
It's
they probably sell out every single time.
Right. It's like 9,800, right? Duke. Cameron.
Something
Indoor.
like that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're probably in the 90th something percentile
Sure.
of fans attending and filling the seats. And I don't think that our number's there, right? So,
percentage-wise, I don't think so. Percentage-wise, I don't think so. But numbers-wise, butts and seats, we obviously, no one comes close to a non-campus crowd, or even any crowd for that matter.
I understand. I guess my whole point is that put an on-campus venue that can put 30,000 in all the other schools, and I bet you that there's a lot more schools that sell that out more than us. Is basically what I'm saying.
I see your point. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be I understand your point. Yeah, and I mean, who knows? Really, who knows? Because the Duke crowd, you get a lot. Like there's a lot of students there. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of students, man. I mean, you get the local crowd.
That's an expensive, coveted ticket, right?
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I mean, there's the whole enamor, like the Sircevskyville and the students camping out and this and that. So, you take away from that whole thing if you turn it into a 30,000 on campus, whatever, right?
Absolutely.
But in my mind, do you not still think that Duke could still not sell out 30,000 every single? I mean Durham's double the size of Syracuse.
Well, that's a good point, dude. It's a good point.
So,
I mean,
at the end of the day, I mean, we get these numbers, but, I mean, what do those numbers really mean other than the fact that we play in our football stadium?
True that. Well, like I've said, we had this conversation a couple years ago. We're kind of going off subject here, but had this conversation a couple years ago. I would love an 18,000-seat stadium, closed basketball stadium.
But I don't think we're going off
no, I guess
subject.
We're
because
not.
I'll tell you, I mean, like we were talking about the fact that, like just the fandom overall. That's the way I look at it. I didn't think the fans were good at all. I thought the fans cared more about, like you said, the people that were there.
They did. I saw
and laughing at Jimmy Fallon over, right?
Yeah,
because it wasn't really that loud in there. How many times when we were down did you hear? There was that part.
We had that 11-0 run. During that 11-0 run, it got loud. Other than that, it was the same old situation, kind of, more or less.
Right.
But you knock those seats down. They need those ticket sales. See, that's the thing. But you knock those seats down to 15, 18,000 in a separate venue that's built for basketball. And I'm telling you, man, you pack that place, you pack it with more diehard fans.
Yep.
You do. There's no doubt about it. Go down to 15,000 and watch those tickets, and they will sell out, and it'll be active. It'll be loud. And I'm telling you, it's going to be louder anyways because it's a smaller venue with that many people. But we'll probably never see it in our lifetimes. Anyway. All right. Here we go. All right. Syracuse will make the trip to Boston to face the Golden Eagles on Wednesday. This will be the second meeting between the two this year. And Syracuse took the first one, as we all know, 76-50 in the Dome. Syracuse shot 51.9% from the field that night. Boston College was shooting 32.8% from the field that night. Buddy Boeheim with a game-high 22 points. There wasn't a single player that played on the Golden Eagles squad that scored in double digits. Let's see. Buddy was 4 for 7 from 3. Sidibe only had 2 points and 6 rebounds in that game. Will Sidibe carry on what he has started the past 3 games? Can he have some consistency? Does he better 2 points and 6 rebounds? I'll bet he does. The all-time series sits at 50-26 in favor of the Orange. Boston College is on a 3-game skid right now. They've got losses to Notre Dame, Clemson, and UVA. That's a concern. That's always a concern of mine. They're going to be playing at home. They are 150th in the net. That makes this a quad 3 game for the Orange away from the Dome, which says a lot. So, says a lot about how bad Boston College stinks. But Boston College is one of those teams that can sneak up on you too. So, if I'm not mistaken, they got a couple good wins here. What was it? Let's see.
They beat North Carolina.
Yeah, they beat North Carolina. So,
anyway, they beat NC State.
Yeah, NC State. That was the one I was thinking of. Yep. So, yeah, that was their last win, NC State. Yep. So, all right, Joe. Well, another quad 3 game. Not that matters, but it kind of puts things into perspective. and we're playing on the road, which has bode well for us so far this year, more or less. And, we don't have some of the distractions, and maybe, who knows? Who knows? It could be a close game, but we blew them out of the freaking water at the Dome, 70-26. So, how do you see it?
Yeah. Well, the first time we played them, we had Derek Thornton, the senior guard that came from Duke and then USC, playing as his graduate senior year at Boston College. He's had some pretty good games since then. He was just coming off an ankle injury, his first game off an ankle injury, and they've also got Nick Popovich back since then, their center there that didn't play against us as well.
That's right. I remember that.
Right. So we're going to see a little bit different of a team, but I don't think it's going to be that much different. I don't know how much they've gotten better. They're good. They just play tough. They're good defense. They're not going to make things easy for us. That's for sure. But the one thing that's kind of on our side in this situation is that I know the last time we played them, they were real small. So again, Popovich, I just looked at the last game they played. He had 22 minutes, 0 points. But I know that he can score around the rim.
He's beating us up is the main thing.
Well, a lot of big men have beaten us up. We made a lot of big men look good or better than what they are. So that's the one concern that I have, because we haven't seen that yet this year. Because when we played them the first time, like I said, they just didn't have the height on us. We out-rebounded them. And the other thing that goes with that is that they're not a great three-point shooting team. So that was a situation where it was a really, really good matchup for our 2-3 zone. And this is one of those matchups where we can be strategic and we just take away a couple things that they can do. Then it makes it a lot easier for us, to just put it that way. So when you got teams like North Carolina and teams that actually have that offensive personnel that can hurt us in 3, 4, 5 different places on the floor, then that's really where we get in trouble. But that's why we beat them the first time. I don't really see a reason why. We can't do it again unless Nick Popovich goes off, like, Garrison Brooks, some of these other centers that have done what they've done. Or we come out and we just lay a stinking egg because we're still boo-hooing over this last loss.
I think they get over it quick. One thing that concerns me is that Boston College is 30.1% from behind the line, behind the 3-point line, and you got a couple guys that can shoot it. You got guard Jay Heath; he's not too bad, but
but they don't have a lottery pick.
That's
Yeah,
I know. And you got Heath and Thornton, who you mentioned. They're both averaging 12.9 points a game. It's not a ton. You got 3 guys in double figures, basically average, and Nick Popovich at 10.5.
Right.
So
and of course you got Mitchell, who's just going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, Stephon Mitchell. Yeah. But it's, statistically, on paper, he's just okay. But
on paper, he's okay. When you watch him, he's freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's just annoying.
Like an Alvarado. Alvarado is like a mosquito. Way more.
He's like...
Alvarado's way more dynamic, but that dude's everywhere.
He's like Dolzai with weight.
I wonder what... You ever sit back and wonder what other teams think of Dolzai? What other teams' fans, like, what's this guy doing? Or and when he goes off, we're like, man, this guy's like the Swan. He's like the Swan. He reminds me of CJ Fair
like
sometimes.
a pesky mosquito that you just keep trying to swat away, and it just keeps coming back at you. Yeah.
Yeah, but he never gets the calls, man. Poor Dolzai. He got hacked a couple times against UNC, by the way. We're going off subject, but he did. Just saying.
He always does.
I know. It's crazy. So, all right, Joe, give me some JG 3 points real quick. What you got? Rebound.
Well,
we need to get our rebounding back up to par,
the
man.
rebound, I would say rebounding, and that's only because it's the whole Popovich factor. If Nick Popovich wasn't playing and it was the same team that we played earlier in the year, I'd say that exactly what we did on offense, our whole game plan would work and it would be fine. But something tells me that it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit closer. I think Thornton's going to hit some shots. Mitchell's still going to be a pesky guy, and Popovich is going to be a little bit of a problem because he is active down there, and really just the Popovich factor of how that's going to affect rebounds and how that's going to affect, their down low scoring and things like that. And I'd say the second one would be to obviously get out on your 3-point shooters a little bit better. I don't know. Like again, you said 30%. That's not great. They do have guys that can score, can get hot. So really, it's more of a see what happens when the game starts. There's going to be a little feeling out process with a 3-point line, and then whoever starts getting hot, you identify the shooter, take that away. And then it's going to be how we can just get over the fact that that this past loss probably did us in for having to win the ACC tournament. So are we going to,
Are we going to try hard and try to get a victory, or are we going to just...
are we going to be upset and we're going to allow that victory to go, or are we going to come out like North Carolina did against us and say, hey, man, we got nothing to lose. We got to figure some stuff out before we get to this ACC tournament because that's our only chance.
Yeah, and I would just point out, Dolezaj, last time we played Boston College in the Dome, he had a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. He's going to need to play a whole lot better than he's been playing the past couple games, along with Sidibe, and at least a guard in Quincy or a guard in Hughes, something. We got to have some continuity going into the rest of the year. And
again, you don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be the orange-colored homer and this, and that. And I think that we all kind of knew that it was kind of a pipe dream for us to sit there and win the last 5 just because of the way the season's gone. And then that we have not been – consistency's been one thing because of just, like I said, a lot of it is the youth, new roles, stuff like that. But even now, sitting at 16 and 13, like if we win our first 2 games and then we win – 2 games in the ACC tournament, that still gets us to 20 wins. And I remember a day when 20 wins was like the number, right?
Yeah, it used to be like
that. You get 20 wins, then, especially in the Power 5 conference, then you can kind of get, squeeze your way in there.
Yeah.
We win the next 2. We still finish 11-9. We're in a 5th place. There's 5 teams at 9-9 for basically 5 through 10 spots in the ACC, 5 through 9 spots. So we're still right there in a chance to try to get that number 5 seed in the ACC tournament. And you never really know. Like that Pittsburgh game when we went down to Pittsburgh, away conference game, and we won by 23 points or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Like you come out and do that the last 2 games. Granted, it's the bottom of the barrel of the ACC, but going on the road in conference and doing that kind of stuff, it's always impressive. Especially when you're winning by double digits, stuff like that. So we just got to do whatever we can, and we got to look as good as we possibly can for the rest of the year to try to, leave some type of eye test and leave some time of, the last few game, last second, results as far as the opinion of us, because this one hurts on Saturday.
Yeah, this one would sting. And it would be demoralizing.
Well, North Carolina stung, but this one would be demoralizing, yes.
I said North Carolina was deflating. This one would be demoralizing.
Right. You can look at it and you can say, okay, we could lose every game. This Boston College game, this Miami game, it doesn't matter, right? Because we need to win the ACC. There's going to be a lot of people that still think that. But, weirder things have happened. And again, it's going to be difficult, but still, you get to the championship game of the ACC, you're still talking about 20-21 wins. And I've seen teams with 14 losses still get in the tournament before, isn't that large? So there's a lot of other factors that go into that, and I don't know if this year's set up for a team like that with that record to get in, but hey, you never know.
That comes down to the conference tournaments too. You still have all that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a conference tournament, right?
Yeah, right. So, all right. Well, look, Joe. Dude, Joe must love you guys going out of his way. Look at him. He's in his car, and he's doing a podcast. Again, he must love you guys. So thanks, Joe, for taking the time. I know you're on a tight schedule. You're away from home, so
no worries.
Appreciate it. And also, thank you to all of you who are listening. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Look, help spread the word. And also, thanks to everybody who participated in fan feedback. As always, thanks to James on guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.